Hello, welcome to Consciously Healthy, the Christmas edition.
Ooh.
I'm Claire.
And I'm Laura at the Christmas edition.
That's very exciting. Do you like Christmas?
I do really like Christmas. It's mainly to celebrate Yule.
Ah, okay.
And the winter solstice.
So shall we have a little distinction before we go any further?
Yep.
Okay, so Laura and I are a pair of hippies.
Yes.
In heels. We like to say we're a hippie in heels. And not that that's any reason for not calling it Yule. But basically, Yule is the traditional British or Celtic calendar festival, isn't it?
Yes,
and actually, there has been a festival around the 21st of December well, it wasn't always the 21st of December, was it? Because the calendars are different, but I'm not going to get nitpicky. But there has been a festival around that specific time of year in the Northern Hemisphere for just millennia. I think the Romans called it Saturnalia. And Yule, it falls on the winter solstice. And so it's this time of balance as we're starting to turn towards the darkness, are we not? And obviously the shortest day. And Yule really is the celebration. It's like we're bringing in, the trees. We're laying gifts to the trees. We're laying gifts to the tree spirits. We're praying for a hard winter so that we can have a glorious and fertile summer. That's really what Yule is. And then, of course, as it goes, without being any disrespectful to anybody's beliefs or faith, as our history evolved and Christianity became the predominant religion in the British Isles. Christmas, which of course, let's celebrate the birth of the main figurehead in Christianity. They actually then chose the most popular festival in the Celtic year, which was Yule. So that's kind of where it's come from. And the reason we wanted to talk about it is because not only are we really passionate about bringing awareness back to the traditional festivals, and we have covered this in other podcasts, but because it's very, very supportive, like Yule is actually the time of going in and being still and being quiet. And, it's where we actually honour the goddess in her form of bone and stone. It's really a time of air and just allowing things to be still. That's really the point. And I find it very interesting because one of the reasons we wanted to talk about Christmas or Yule is because a lot of people get very, very stressed at this time of year.
Yeah, there's not a lot of resting and being still at this time of year.
Really not.
And I know for me, one of the most beautiful winter solstices that I've experienced is when we took a pilgrimage to, we went to the West Country, we went to Stonehenge, and we saw the rising of the sun on the longest day, and it is just shortest day, beg your pardon, and it's just this celebration of winter. I never used to celebrate winter, I used to really hate it. But when we are able to celebrate winter, then we are able to celebrate summer. We have to have the two together. Yeah. So honouring the gifts from both. And the more that I can allow myself to rest over Christmas and not plan too much in and not eat myself silly, although I do like to do that, the better my winter is. It's something I really look forward to. And I love what you were saying about Christmas trees. I've always really, really loved Christmas trees.
Yes, you have.
I do love a really good Christmas tree. And there is this celebration of how incredible nature is, and that there is still green in the depths of winter, and that it's going to come again in the spring. So, yeah, I think that's, in terms of a tip, if you want to really start to embrace this as a season, it's allowing yourself to go inwards and to sit in things like meditation and to just allow yourself to be still rather than being chaotic.
Yeah, I love that.
Easier said than done.
It is easier said than done. In fact, the gorgeous and wonderful Errol Campbell, who we talk about quite a lot, who's a real friend of Balance Wellness and of ours. He does a 12-day silent meditation every Christmas that takes him all the way through, and he usually does a juice fast along with it. And he really works on bringing Christ energy in. So in terms of if you start getting into the very spiritual spheres, Christ energy is about love, and so about radiating that out into the world. And of course, when we start looking at that from the perspective of Christianity, or what Christmas means, if we're celebrating the birth of Christ or love, how does that translate to getting ourselves into ridiculous amounts of debt and piling on the pounds? It stops making a connection. And I think this is why I got so passionate about the original Celtic calendar, is because so many parts of our life today no longer make sense. And so Christmas for me has stopped making sense. It's stopped making sense for the last few years. Just the amount of money, the amount of food, the amount of pressure for one day where basically you're having a glorified roast dinner, but presents and all of that stress for it to be perfect, in inverted commas, all that rushing around, it's just stopped making sense. And even down to beautiful wrapping. Actually, this year I've rebelled. It's brown paper, because the beautiful wrapping that can't even be put into recycling because of all the pigments in it. It's just gone utterly crazy, and children's expectations have gone utterly crazy. And so, my yearning is to simplify it, and so many clients that I've spoken to, their yearning is to simplify it. So if we take it back to what Yule was, like we were saying, we bring in the trees, and we tie ribbons on the trees and beautiful lights on the trees, and it's about celebrating nature and allowing ourselves to drop into this stillness for a while. And it is supposed to be a time where our stress ebbs away. And so really give yourself, that's my top tip, is to give yourself permission to say no to hosting or to parties or to going out just because it's Christmas. Actually give yourself permission to drop and surrender and relax. And you know what? It doesn't have to be the perfect roast dinner. Because if I honestly guarantee, we started having a conversation, you're like, yeah, I'm a bit done with Christmas too. And I started having a conversation with my family, and they were all like, yeah, actually, we're all a bit done with it too. A couple of years ago, we actually had curry. My mum made them a few days in advance. It was brilliant.
Great curry.
She makes great curry. But she made them, days in advance. No stress on Christmas Day. Just lovely. Really, really lovely. So the other thing that people often ask us about is food and drink. How do they navigate food and drink? And I always find it quite interesting that people can put on stacks of weight over Christmas, because it's one day, actually. We've taken the phrase, Yule or Christmas, which is ultimately one day, and turned it into an entire month's season, haven't we?
Yeah, it's really easily done. And there's something around the consciousness that we all have. There is this, I'm just going to gorge. I mean, I've absolutely experienced this as well. And every year. But
a deep love of Christmas pudding.
I think this is the thing that I'd really like to talk about. I do make sure that I eat healthy through Christmas. I actually yearn to eat healthy. I love the vegetables, and I love all the winter vegetables, and that feels really great. And I also allow myself to have the occasional treat. I really like Christmas pudding. I'm a massive raisin fan. I really like sherry. And so the odd sort of treat is absolutely, allowing yourself to have that. It's the going crazy that is the really interesting thing. And we talk about this a lot in our Reclaim Your Life program, in terms of when we use food as a tool to cover up what's really going on.
Yes.
And particularly if you are a person who restricts yourself with food and drink throughout the year, and then suddenly you've got this kind of permission with Christmas to just blow out. It's what is really going on there. There is a part of you that feels quite deprived.
Where's the balance?
That goes crazy at Christmas. So it's a really interesting area to bring awareness to. If this is something that you experience, putting on a lot of weight and eating a lot of rubbish over Christmas, really looking at what is it that makes me do that, because there's a difference between treating yourself to the occasional whatever.
Mince pie, Christmas pudding.
And going bonkers.
What I quite like doing is looking at what really makes Christmas. You know, if I have a client who says, well, I don't really know how to control myself, I go, what really makes Christmas? Is it, you know, you absolutely adore mince pies or, you know, Christmas pudding or Christmas cake, or
it's
you
the
just
season
couldn't
of
do
raisins.
The season of raisins and sultanas. Or is it, you know, what is it that you just it wouldn't be Christmas without? And look forward to that. It's the amount of people who say to me, oh, well, how, you know, it's the problem is when I get that big tin of Quality Street in front of me. And I go, well, do you get given the tin of Quality Street? Oh, no, I buy it. Don't buy it. You know, and we used to get, my husband's grandmothers used to buy us big tins of biscuits that I could only eat wheat, so we didn't eat them. And we just phoned them and said, just please don't do that. Just, you know, keep the money, or, you know, just don't do it. We don't eat it. So this is something we talk about in our Reclaim Your Life programme, is the ability to have boundaries and state your needs, because this is where it starts to come into play in daily life. If you do want to indulge in the gorgeous Christmassy things, check out our website, balancedwellness.co.uk, to the recipes section, because we have actually got a Christmas section which has got some wheat-free, dairy-free options on there, and that are very well tried and tested, I have to add.
Oh, your cookie gingerbread. Oh, every year you make them and they are amazing. And don't give me IBS.
It's just the holy grail of biscuits. So please do get in touch if you want any more support or advice around how to get through the Christmas season. And if we don't hear from you, happy Christmas.
Yes, happy Yule.